Hello, and welcome to the second video looking at the history of Arion Games. Today, 7th of July 2025, marks 20 years to the day since Arion Games released its first product, which was a set of paper miniatures, as I discussed in the previous video. And I finished that first video by saying that the start of 2008 marked a big turning point for Arion Games, because we released the PDF version of this, Maelstrom, by Alexander Scott. And it'd been released back in the 80s by Puffin Books, sold vast numbers of copies, and then was forgotten about. Well, not quite forgotten about, because in the early days of the internet, you still did get lots of people referring back to the Herbal and referring back to the game and looking back on it fondly. And social media back then was not what it is now. It was then very basic forums and so on. And obviously not anything like the social networks we have now. But there was still a fondness for this game. And I personally was very fond of this game. I'd loved this game when I was a teenager, and I played quite a lot of it then. And I thought it would be great to get this back. And I thought, I've got a platform. I've got thousands of customers. I've got a way to sell it via the digital platform of Drive-Thru RPG, or RPG now as it was then. So why not release it? And so the year before, there'd been lots of discussions with Puffin and then with Alex Scott. And so in January, we released the PDF. Now, that's obviously quite a few years, and I've sold about 3,000 copies of the PDF, which is quite a few. Obviously, that's quite a few years, but there are so many excellent copies out there that probably explains that. And that really marked a change in how Arion Games approach products. No longer were we just putting out 1, 2, 3, 4 paper miniature sets a month, and that was it. We now started to focus on role-playing products. And we put a couple of adventures out in 2008. One written by me, one written by Paul Baldowski, who's now part of All Rolled Up and various other enterprises, including the fantastic D-Conspiracy RPG. We've also got, we had a companion, came out in 2009. And this was an attempt to put in the bits that were missing from the original RPG. So guns and various other bits and pieces, alchemy and so on. And I think that in a way also marked a big turning point, because yes, 2008 we put out this, which had been pre-published, and we put out a couple of adventures. But 2009 was when we started making Maelstrom almost our own. Now, obviously nothing will ever take away from Alex in the original book, and there's obviously no intention to do that. But 2009, when we put out the companion, we were starting to produce an additional role-playing material. And that was followed in 2011 by the Beggar's Companion, and 2012 then produced the Maelstrom Classic Fantasy. So we took this and we thought, well, actually in here you've got warriors, mercenaries, you've got priests, you've got assassins, you've got rogues, you've got mages. What does that sound a bit like? Well, D&D-ish, any sort of fantasy game. So we thought, I know, let's turn that into a fantasy game. And it's not sold vast numbers. I know there are some people who really like it, and I've spoken to quite a few people who run it, but it never sold in huge numbers. But what it did do is it said, actually, you know what? You can take this, you can take a game and you can make it your own. You can make it your own thing. And that was in 2012. 2013 saw Maelstrom Doomsday. But of course, by that point, we had already started on Advanced Fighting Fantasy, which was 2011. And of course, by 2012, we're starting to put out our own material for that. So the 2011, 2012 really was when we started taking existing classic games, 80s games, and really turning them into our own game. And as you will see in the next videos, and you will know if you follow Arion Games, that really has then since 2011 or so been our approach. Take that classic game, breathe new life into it, make it our own thing, while still keeping it true to its original roots. So that's pretty much it for part 2. I'll put out part 3 in a few days' time. Just remember that the 40% sale is still on. Last Saturday, I sent out everyone who had bought anything between the 1st of the month and the Friday. This Saturday, I will send out another free gift or gifts to everyone who's bought something between last Saturday and this coming Friday. And I will do the same every week until the end of the month. So please do take advantage of that sale. And if you're already an Arion Games fan, already an Arion Games customer, thank you so much for your support over the years, because it's the support of our fans that has kept us going so long. Thank you, and until next time, goodbye.